Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Luminess Air Airbrush Cosmetics, which is a airbrush company, and they started off as a infomercial company. You can find a lot of their ads online. I remember watching their infomercials when I was at the hair salon when I was like 14, 15 years old. So they've been around for quite a while, and Luminess Air was actually the first airbrush company that I had ever heard of. So recently I got my hands on a airbrush system from Luminess Air, and I'm so excited to show you guys what I got and how it works for me. So this is the system that I picked out. This is the Legend airbrush system, and it comes in a lot of different colors, but I picked mine out in the black and white set because I'm boring and I like things to be sleek and simple. And this box just looks like this. It opens up and you have all of your products inside. And your kit is gonna come with a really great guide. This is the Getting Started guide. It's gonna give you lots of details on how to use your Luminess airbrush system. I've used a lot of airbrush systems in the past, so I am familiar with the process, but this is great if you guys have never used airbrush before. And Luminess's website has so much information. There's so many different tutorials and guides, and they have a lot of helpful people on hand that can help you pick out your system or help you know how to use your system if you are having problems. So the kit that I got comes with this airbrush, which is just my black and white Legend system. It's got your black base and your white top, and it's got your little feet on the bottom. I love having the little feet feature because I've had airbrush systems in the past that don't have that, and it's really convenient. It's just like little silicone pieces that will help your airbrush to stay nice and secure on the table. And this is your tube. It's pretty long. I was really excited to see how long it was because, again, I've had airbrush systems in the past that had a really short tube, and it's just got a really simple on-off switch, and then you have your gun. And then, of course, you have your pluggy so that you can plug your airbrush system into the wall, and then you have a little cord. I know they make airbrush systems out there that are cordless, that like take batteries, but I definitely prefer having one that has a plug because it's so much more convenient to not have to repurchase batteries, and this one's like a nice long length. You're never gonna need one longer than this, so I definitely appreciate having a plug. And then I got this little Airbrush Cosmetics starter kit, which is by Luminess as well. It's got 2 foundations and 4 extras. And I'm so happy that Luminess is not a brand that requires you to use their products with their airbrush. If you want to just use their airbrush with a different airbrush cosmetic or different foundations, you can do that. I'm really glad that Luminess doesn't take advantage of consumerism and require only their products be used in their actual airbrush system, because there are brands out there that their airbrush system will not work unless you use their cosmetics. And I strongly advise that if you're going to invest in an airbrush system, buy one that you can use whatever makeup you want with it, because as an artist, you guys know you can always add mixing mediums to your own products. You can custom create your own foundations, and you can mix whatever products that you want to, and that's part of the freedom that you get as a makeup artist or just as someone who loves to play with makeup. So I'm really glad that Luminess provides their foundations, but you don't have to use them if you don't want to. Their kits come in fair, medium, warm, tan, and deep, and I got mine in medium. I did have to custom create and mix some of my shades in order to get a shade that would work for my skin, but I chose medium. So it comes with 2 foundations. You get a warm tone and a cool tone, which these are pretty big sizes. These are 0.55 ounces, which is pretty big for airbrush makeup because you really only need a couple of dots. And then I also got these 4 extras in my kit. This is a blush, there's a bronzer, and then my 2 favorites. This one is the moisturizing primer. I love this. And then this one is the Brighten Glow, just like a liquid highlighter. And both of these I used to mix in with my shade number 3, which is the warm medium shade, to create the shade that works for my skin. Now, in the world of airbrush makeup, there's all sorts of different kinds of airbrush makeup. You can airbrush faces, bodies, you can do, really abstract avant-garde designs, and you can even do like eyebrows, eyeshadow, blush, contour. You can do everything with airbrushing, but in my personal experience, I find airbrushing very difficult in every aspect except for foundation. And of course, that's just gonna be user error. That's gonna be different for every single person, but I personally can only get foundation to work for me with Airbrush Cosmetics. I just find it really hard to control eyeshadows and blushes and bronzers and things like that. So I stick to foundation. My kit did come with a blush and a bronzer, and I love the bronzer feature because you can mix this in with your foundation just to give more of a summer glow, or this is beautiful to just wear the bronzer by itself and kind of like spray it on your shoulders or on your décolleté. Like the bronzer is so pretty because it has a slight sheen to it that just looks so sexy and so shimmery, but not like over the top shimmery. It's like a very natural glow. So I think the bronzer is really nice to mix in or to just like wear on the body. But for me, airbrush blushes are just so difficult. I can never get them to blend. I can never get them to look good on my skin. So I've tried blushes and eyeshadows and all sorts of things like that. And it's nice that the kit comes with it, but I personally just cannot get that to work for me. So the Luminess Airbrush system is probably the easiest assembly system that I've ever seen. It's just all super compact, all in one little thing. All you do is plug in your cord just like that, and you just plug your pluggy into the wall and you are good to go. So I'm gonna turn on the airbrush system so y'all can hear what it sounds like. So you can hear the sound of the actual airbrush system, which is like a light vibrating noise. It's a pretty quiet system though. There's a lot of systems out there that are like super obnoxious and huge and they're like really loud. So this one's pretty quiet and you guys can hear the continuous airflow. This is a continuous airflow Luminess Air gun. That means that the air is constantly going through the gun. It never stops. And then when you pull your trigger, it's going to release more air. It's gonna pull back the needle in the system, and the more that the needle is pulled back, the more foundation is going to come out the end. So the more you pull your foundation brush back, the more pigment you're gonna get, and the softer you pull out, a little bit of product's gonna come out. So the more you pull back, the louder it's gonna be, and the more product is gonna come out. So the gun is actually pretty quiet. It's not like a loud, heavy device, but I'm really happy with this actual gun because it's very easy to clean and it's really compact, but it has a really good weight to it. You can really tell the quality of guns pretty quickly, just right off the bat. This one's really nice. It's got a great bowl on it. Everything feels very secure, and I love that the tip is pink because how cute. And yeah, this is just a really great gun. So I am wearing the Luminess Air foundation on my skin right now. However, I do have a lot of makeup piled on top of it, so you can't really see it anymore, but I do have it on my skin, and I love the Satin line of foundations. Luminess Air has a lot of different foundations, a lot of different products, but I chose these Satin foundations, which I think are really pretty. Oftentimes, airbrush foundation can look really matte because it is water resistant and water based. So a lot of the time it looks really matte. And in my personal opinion, I think matte foundations look the least natural because your natural skin isn't matte. Like you can see some iridescence coming off my natural skin. So if this was like flat powdery matte, it would look really fake. So I'm really happy with this Satin foundation because I think it looks really pretty, and I personally prefer more dewy luminous products. So for this demo, I started off with a primer, and I used my Smashbox Pore Minimizing Primer, and I just put this all over my skin to help create a nice smooth base. The Luminess Airbrush Foundation is an all-in-one formula that claims to prime, moisturize, conceal, and provide foundation all in one. However, I still prefer doing those steps on my own. So I'm priming my skin with this primer, and this really just helps to fill in large pores and fine lines and creates a great base for my foundation. Next, I'm going in with one of my favorite products from Luminess. This is the Moist Primer. It's the Airbrush Moisturizer, the M1, which is just a nice hydrating primer. This creates a little bit of moisture to the skin, and it really helps to add some luminosity, and I think that this looks so pretty on the skin. So next, I'm going in with my Luminess Satin Airbrush Foundation. This one is in the shade 3, which is a warm medium shade, and then I'm going in with one of my favorite products from Luminess, and this is the Brightening Glow, which is a liquid luminizer. The liquid luminizer is so beautiful. It just adds some iridescence on top of the satin foundation, and I add a lot of product to my bowl. These products claim to only need like 3 or 4 drops. The foundation's supposed to only need 8 drops, but I'm super extra, so I feel the need to fill my bowl up. And then I like to put my finger over the gun and pull on the trigger. What this is called is back bubbling, and it's going to mix all the product in the bowl for you. That way everything's mixed together to go on your skin. So the number one thing to remember when you're airbrushing foundation is you always want to be constantly moving. So you'll notice that my hand and wrist are constantly going in different circles and motions around my face. That way nothing will pile up on the skin and look cakey, and this way everything gets evenly distributed. The hardest part about airbrush makeup is color matching. One of the great things about Luminess is you can send in your photo and that way they will color match you for you, but I had a hard time getting my colors to match on my skin, so I did have to continuously mix in different shades until I found a shade that I was happy with. At one point I felt like I was too yellow, then I felt like I was too light, but at the end of the day I'm very happy with my results with the Luminess Airbrush Foundation. I just find the airbrush foundation takes a little bit of time. So the constant movement with your airbrush system is what's going to give your skin that very flawless look. If you continuously move it around the skin, you're going to be able to create that very flawless airbrush finish. And I'm very happy with my overall result. I think it looks glowy, it looks healthy. I have full coverage, but it still looks pretty natural and it looks like skin. It doesn't look like tons of piled on makeup. So the Luminess Airbrush system, like I said, is one of the most simple airbrush systems I've ever seen. It's very, very user-friendly. I find that anyone can figure out how to use this, how to set it up. It's a great system, and it's great for those who want personal use. This is small enough to travel with. You could easily throw this in your suitcase. You could use this if you are more of a professional or if you're just someone who wants to use airbrush makeup. However, I would not recommend professionals buying this particular airbrush set and keeping this in their kit. I don't think that it's powerful enough or has enough options for someone who's doing a lot of freelance work. I just think that this would be better for more home personal use because it is so simple and so small, and I think that it does the best for those who need something that's goof-proof. Now, one thing that a lot of airbrush companies claim is that airbrushing is super easy and it's the most effective way to do your foundation, and it's something that anyone can do. And I do have to say I disagree with this. I do think that airbrushing takes time. I think it's hard. I think that at first it's super intimidating, and the first several times that I did my foundation, like several times that I did my makeup with airbrush, I hated it. I thought it looked terrible, and I would continuously wipe it off and apply it again. And still some days I'm not completely satisfied with the way that my airbrush makeup looks. But I do think that once you get the hang of it and once you learn how to use airbrush makeup, it is something that you can do so fast. Airbrush foundation is a very quick method. It's very pshh, and you're done once you get the hang of it. So if you are a little bit intimidated by it, don't be. Just know that practice makes perfect. There are so many reasons why people would choose airbrush makeup. One being that it's absolutely stunning. It looks very, very flawless in photos and it looks flawless in person. Another being that it's water-based, so it's great for sensitive skin, people who are looking for something that's not going to settle into fine lines, that they can really get to work with their skin type or skin texture. And if you are sensitive, acne prone, or if you have a hard time finding products that you are not allergic to, then airbrush makeup is a great option for you because it is water-based, so it is great for sensitive skin. And another reason why people love airbrush makeup is it's water resistant. It's so long wearing. It's great for weddings. It's great for those days that you're out in the sun and you're going to be sweating. It stays on the skin really, really well, and it doesn't transfer easily. Now, traditional makeup holds a very strong place in my heart. I love cream and liquid foundations. I love using powders and multiple different formulas. I don't think that airbrushing is something that will ever take a place of traditional makeup in my heart. I just love traditional makeup so much, but I think that airbrushing is really fun. I love having it for days that I want to do something a little extra. I love having it for doing that bronzing feature on my skin. I think adding bronzer to the body looks so beautiful when it's done with an airbrush, and I definitely think there's a time and a place for an airbrush system, but being completely honest, airbrushing is never something that's going to be like my go-to 100% of the time. Now, airbrushing is an expensive investment. Any airbrush system you guys ever find is going to be pricey because that's just the nature of airbrushing. The Luminess Airbrush Legend system that I have retails for $249. Now, Luminess Air is constantly doing different discounts or promos. You can sign up for their mailing list and visit their site regularly to see when they're doing different discounts. I've also seen them on HauteLook before, and they do different TV promotions as well. And I do have a 20% off discount code that I will leave in the description box down below. So if you guys want to get an airbrush system, there's definitely a way for you to get it at a more cost-effective price. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this review on Luminess Air. I will leave more details in the description box below, as well as my social media, so you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and I can talk to you guys on other sources other than YouTube. So I will see y'all in a later video. Mwah!